Alright, taking us to warp speed, number 1.
Wobbly, 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 wobbly.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
No.
And we're regrettably live for Depths of Gaming episode 21.
Greetings, comrades!
You know, that's 20.5 more episodes than anyone thought we would do.
Yeah. That's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot of episodes. Alright, so I guess we might as well
Let's just dive in.
Awkwardly leap into it. So Civilization 6 has just got patched, introducing the Nubian civilization.
Ooh, sounds like they are very noobish.
Well, they predate all of that. Thousands of years before Common Era, the Nubians predated dynastic Egypt and the pharaohs. The Nubian language is one of the oldest recorded ones in that area of the world. Between 300 and 350. Now that's actually a deceptive time because that actually starts 300 before Common Era and then it goes all the way to 350 Common Era.
Ah, so yeah.
Now, for those of you confused, that's because
So that's 650 years span.
Yeah, that's about 650 years span. And they built about 200 pyramids during that time.
That's a lot of pyramids.
Now, to be fair, those are more like giant towers. They're nowhere near as steep. Or no, they're steeper, but they have like a plateaued top, like a tower.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're more like kind of skyscrapers than anything, but
their skyscrapers are very short, though.
yes. Well, they didn't have a bunch of cheap Mexican labor.
Oh, that's true. I think no one had.
Or Chinese steel. If they had Chinese steel, those would have been the greatest pyramids. Believe me.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Now, as for what they actually do in the game, their unique improvement is the Nubian pyramids, and they of course create faith and they buff districts, much like the other unique districts that we've run into, improvements rather. And it's funny, in their release, they actually inflated the price of bow units.
Oh.
Because the Nubians have completely altered the meta of early game range units because they start with a bow unit, a really good one.
Oh, I see.
Because,
so basically they have a boost for that.
Yeah. Now, so they basically inflated the price of bow units by existing. Their unique archer unit, the Patati, serves as a very strong early game missile unit, and this is because the ancient Egyptians used to call Nubia the land of the bow. They're really good bowmen.
Okay, I think we're going to take Egyptians war for that.
Yes. So. Oh, stupid me. Derp! It helps if I actually put it on the slide so that we're not all just on the intro. So I'm going to just let you look at that for a moment. Yeah, so as we can see here, they get plenty % production towards all districts. 40% if there's a pyramid next to the city center. So, unlike other factions, they actually not have to, but they're incentivized to build their improvement right next to their city center, which we haven't really seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally the improvement is something you'll build around all of your districts, or you'll build them on specific types of land, but you won't usually want to place them right next to your center because you want to cover it with districts.
Mm-hmm.
While here they actually want to build pyramids near their center. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's simply because of the way that this new empire is actually handling itself. Yeah, because since Nubian liked pyramids so much, it basically it is an interesting take on the meta of the game.
Well, yeah, because it's the old school Egyptian playstyle that we've grown to love over the years in Civilization, which is very worker heavy, very improvement heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been weaponized into a very interesting new nation. So I'm probably going to end up playing that today and trying it because that seems really fun. So on my Facebook feed, I learned something very interesting, which is Jagged Alliance is getting an official board game adaptation.
Oh, really? Will it also include glitches?
I'm hoping that's the promo materials. I still have to message the developers about that because I think they'll like that joke. But THQ Nordic has okayed this. This is Underground Games' very first project. Now they've been working on this for a while, and some of them talk like they're veteran game developers. So I think we have a treat in for us. This isn't a cash grab.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically because cash grab games, they come out swinging. They go, this is this is that, this is our theory on this is our theory on that. Come back next week for our talk with this person. Come back next week for our talk with this person. No, it's just, here's our board game. This is what we're working on. We worked on it for 6 months. We'll have more information soon.
I like the kind of idea of it's ready when it's ready.
Yeah.
Right? Because it means that the developer, instead of focusing on the promotion material, on all that extraneous stuff that at the end of the day doesn't actually improve the game, they're focusing on improving the game. And that means to me that they have a lot of respect for gamers who and clients who are actually going to buy this product, and that is something that the gaming industry desperately needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I did a little research. I looked at the blog posts that they put out, and I am quite happy with what they're doing because they say they're going to have sector tiles, and there will be like up to 10 miniatures per tile, and you're collecting weapons, and I looked at some of the enemy art, and the enemy art looks like they were redrawn from Jagged Alliance 2, and that makes sense because that's where the game's going to be based in, Aroko, where Jagged Alliance 2 took place.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very interested to see what's going on. And to think, according to the game box, it'll only take 999 minutes to play. Yeah, they're still making it. That's why I'm joking about it.
That's 16 hours.
Yeah.
Over 16 and a half hour, yeah.
Well, it's because they haven't done a proper playtest, so they don't know how long it'll take. It's a mock-up of the box that I have on my screen.
Makes sense.
So, speaking of alliances...
Yeah, please, tell me more. I want to know. That we have a lot to talk about.
A lot of alliances to talk about today.
Now it's a dead alliance.
Because now there's a dead alliance. The people that make Friday the 13th, Illogic, they've come out with Dead Alliance. Now, strangely, they've said they've been working on this game far longer than they've been working on Friday the 13th. However, I've played Dead Alliance the other day. It just came out for an open beta. Anyone can play it. Actually, I think that just ended. I'm not entirely sure, but they've had an open period. They had an open beta period recently, and it was awful. The guns were all floaty. The zombie animations are terrible. The maps are the size of my closet.
Yeah, it's something tells me that this developer is not really putting their heart into it. Complete opposite of our previous story, right? Because I've heard a lot of bad stuff about them. For one, they're treating their player base like shit. At least the part of the player base that is playing the Friday the 13th game.
Oh yeah.
They're misusing their funds. It's basically a horrible mess. Because for Friday the 13th, right? That game was supposed to have a single player, but apparently that's no longer available, and people are basically getting bans, right? Because some idiot can basically do play as a party and just make the entire experience of playing the Friday the 13th completely miserable for the random players.
Right.
And that's bullshit. And whenever the random players go and say, "Listen, do something with that," the developer does nothing, or worse, is banning the random players.
Right.
So,
because there's this really fucked up mindset in the horror gaming community that it's a super serious hardcore game and you have to play it right every single time, and if you do anything that's counter meta, you have to be punished. And this shit is a toxic line of thought that unfortunately is very, very rampant through the communities. This is why I stopped playing Dead by Daylight, because I played 5 games, and every time I tried to learn how to play the killer, I'd either get shit talked for puppy guarding, or I'd spend the whole match never seeing anyone because everyone knows how to sneak around the killer.
And basically, what I was trying to get at is that banning someone when they bought your game, right? And that game doesn't have a single player. That basically means that you basically stealing their money.
And by the way, no
that's bullshit.
No professional admin bans people. None. Not a single one. Because it's shit. It's terrible behavior. It's more than just being a bad host. It's you're showing that rather than let this person hang themselves and show that they're a bad person, you just want them not to be there. And you have a right not to want them to be there, but you do not have the right to rip them out because you don't agree with them. They have to do something against your terms of service. Yeah,
that's one thing, and another thing is that basically permanently banning, right? There are other ways to ban people, right? You can give them a 24-hour ban, you can give them a week ban, you can basically discipline them in such a way that it doesn't actually take away their game permanently. You can create a server to which only the banned people can play at. That's the best way to creating a kindergarten like that is the best way to deal with. Yeah, it's the best way to deal with troublesome players. And yeah,
because how Dota 2 solved a lot of their toxic community problems because that's the other thing, is I say that about the horror game community, but the MOBA community is that on steroids. The thing about the MOBA community is there are a lot of hateful people that want people to feel just as bad as they do for losing. So,
well, Dota has this.
So the thing about Dota 2 is they have a mechanic where if you quit early or if you get reported enough, they put you in effectively the loser zone. And these games don't count for as many points, and they're all the worst people in the community. So you are incentivized to never be in this pool.
Yeah, it makes sense. However, what I was trying to say, it's important that the MOBA community, MOBA games, and MOBA players are subject to a lot of stress, right? Because these games are very high tension, very twitchy games, very reflex intensive. And if something does not go right, which hello real life, it never does, people get stressed the fuck out. I completely understand that someone might actually go on a complete and utter rage if something like that happens, and temporary ban is more than sufficient to deal with that, because you get the time to cool down, relax, and then approach it with fresh mind. You there, Necro?
Yeah, you were talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was letting you say your point. Yeah, Deadline sucks. Next. No, I mean, seriously, I played as the heavy assault class, and so I have a saw, right? So the sound of the gun is like, it sounds like a fucking airsoft gun. It sounds like I have an airsoft saw and I am fighting airsoft amidst zombies, and nothing, and the keybinds are all over the place. It's got the Call of Duty mechanics in there with kill streaks. Like,
does it at least allow you to rewind the keys?
No.
Oh, now that's something to bitch about.
That's why I say Dead Alliance is the worst shooter I've ever played, because you were not allowed to I was not allowed to remap my keys.
You know what's sad? I've been playing like this third-rate, one-person developed shitty Flash game. And even there, I had the ability to fucking remap the keys. It's not difficult.
What
For
idiot?
fuck's sake.
Just, seriously, what moron would make any version of their game, demo or not, without keybinds?
You know what? That's actually, I think, connected to consoles. Simply because the some console games allow you to remap your keys, but most of the time it's hard-coded into the game, because consoles have a standard where, for example, X is always use.
So what you're saying is Dead Alliance is a shitty game and we should pay it no more attention.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it.
Death to console peasants.
Yeah, death to the inferior console race!
Yes!
To the ovens with them!
All the way for the PC Master Race!
Necro confirmed for war crimes. Okay, Hero Forge.
we all go to hell anyway. There's no way we can say something, anything that will make everybody happy.
Well, you say
let's just be ourselves.
You say that until President Harambe's corpse.
Yeah.
Hashtag President Harambe's corpse 2016. 2020 actually. Why don't we do that? We should send Harambe's corpse back in time, and no one will know the difference between it and Trump. Duh!
We still have to figure out time travel into the past, because as far as I know, the only way to do it is to basically create...
No.
You can create a time traveling machine, but you can only come back to the point when you constructed the time traveling machine.
Well, so here's the way you do time travel. Okay? You hire Tommy Wiseau and you hire Peter Molyneux. And then you get them in a room. And you say, Peter, I need you to come up with the best game ever and come up with some acting for Wiseau to do, and have Wiseau do it. Now, the paradox created by those two things in the same room will create a time paradox. And you use the time paradox to go back in time and kill Hitler. Duh.
I see.
And at the same time, Hero Forge has introduced digital purchasing.
Yay!
Yeah, we're not professionals. Does it show? Starting at $10, a customer can purchase the STL file, which is for 3D printing of their customized miniature.
Ooh!
And this is awesome, because this is the kind of service that had to exist for us to move on in the technological race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the next logical step. Is people have home printers? Shouldn't we be able to pay companies to create an awesome STL file of our desires so we can make it for ourselves? Like, that's a really interesting and great service.
Yeah. And these miniatures look good too.
And it's technically cheaper than their regular service.
Yeah.
So this creates low-level traffic for them that they may not have had before, because it's usually about $20 to get yourself a miniature after shipping and handling. So with $10, you're paying like $5 for the filament, and that's going to make you like 5-10 more miniatures. So you're already getting out of this fairly cost efficiently.
I like the idea of 3D printing entering the miniature market, because there are companies out there that desperately need competition.
Absolutely. Like,
I'm looking at you, Game Workshop.
I'm looking at you, Games Workshop. I'm looking at you, the Fat Dragon people that make the horrendously expensive D&D scenery. And hopefully we're gonna finally see a price drop of all this horrifically expensive D&D scenery, because suddenly people can just make it.
Yep.
Because you've noticed that too, right? Is there these companies that come out offering, like, here's our deluxe D&D scenery, just $100 will get you four tiles of this wonderful scenery. Like, whoa, time out, buddy.
$100 for 4 tiles. Bullshit, I call.
Like, they come out with these ridiculous value add things where they're making like $60 a miniature, and it's ridiculous. Yeah,
those tiles may cost like...
It costs them like $2.
Yeah. It might cost them like $5,000 or $6,000 to actually come up with. And then material costs would cost like, I don't know, $3. But if you're selling it like 60,000 of these a pop, a year, they should not be costing $60, because that's pure profit.
Like, let me actually be honest and look this up, because I I want to actually make fun of what they make, not what we think they make. Let's not be Christians on this. So,
There we go.
so they're saying that for $10 they'll give you the files for the starter set. For this is Fat Dragon. What was I looking at? Oh, you know what I was looking at? I was looking at the stuff where they print it for you and they hand print it.
There you go.
That's where I was confused.
Handwork would probably be expensive, yes.
Yeah, because they're saying $10 for all of the all of their packages are like $10 for the STL files. And they have these interesting like dragon bite things that I'm not sure if are also. Are they? Yeah, they are. They're they have this like little clip that they use that you can use to fasten the pieces together. That's kind of cool. Okay, sorry.
Return the honors.
Sorry about that, Fat Dragon. It turns out you're nowhere near as bad as we thought you were. That should be our new slogan. Nowhere near as bad as you thought it was. That's probably why Hero Forge decided on the $10 price point, because I guess that's just the going rate for professional work these days for STL files is $10. Whatever it is, 5 tiles, $10. 1 miniature, $10. An entire diorama of the Hindenburg, $10. Stellaris.
Stellaris segment.
Yeah, our Stellaris segment.
Let's see.
Much like Martin Antwoord, we cannot go a day without talking about Stellaris.
Stellaris is a good game. I don't see why not.
Little known fact, but Martin Antwoord has a small. The reason why he always wears a wristwatch is because if he goes more than 4 hours without discussing Stellaris, a poison capsule that was implanted by Paradox in his brain will go off.
He needs 8 hours of sleep, right?
Well, the way he gets around that is he has it timed so 10 minutes before he wakes up and says, Stellaris is great! Then he goes back to sleep.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
This is all documented. I don't know what you're rolling your eyes at me for. So, the cost of all starship parts and hulls will be changed. And this is because, and I verified this, you can cheese the game by never upgrading the basic Corvette blueprint.
Oh, really?
Yes. I've heard whispers of the naked Corvettes thing for the longest time, but I finally tested it for myself and it works.
Oh.
Is you just build a ton of them. And if you play a militarist civilization, well then, hands down, you're the best. You just keep building them up to your capacity, keep just pumping out star parts, building more and more of them. And by the time you have battleships, you'll have such a pretty all of those minerals you've saved, you'd have invested them back into your civilization.
Oh, I see. That's the reason why it's so good.
So the reasoning for this is twofold. Not only are you just stronger than every other empire by cost, it takes you less minerals per ship, but all of those minerals you save, you can just dump it either into more ships or a better civilization. So you end up being able to build more.
Mm-hmm.
And this is finally getting addressed, because the reason this strategy works is no thought whatsoever was put into the pricing of these components. It's just this bland formula of the next step is twice as much and it's slightly better.
Mm-hmm.
It just costs twice as much.
So it basically, the way I think about it is basically you are spending more money per slot of weaponry than if you upgrade your ship. If instead you'll basically create this the old ship, but basically the cost effectiveness of it is much higher.
Yeah, the cost.
That's what I'm getting.
Yes, the cost. It's far more cost efficient to just build the standard Corvette over and over again.
Interesting.
And
they could address it by instead of making the Corvettes more expensive, they could address it like making the other other weapons actually more capable.
Well, they're doing that too. What they're doing is the Corvette's going up by 10 minerals, and instead of being twice as much, the example they gave is the red laser. Instead of being 60 minerals, the blue laser is going to be 30.5.
Oh, I see.
So the cost effectiveness already goes up, because that's 1.5 more minerals per ship instead of like fucking 60 or 30 or whatever. Way more than 10.
Yeah, so that's nice. So now there is an incentive to actually speed up the upgradingness of your fleet.
Right. So even though the price of all ships and parts have gone up, the prices of parts have uniformly been balanced. Not necessarily going down, but they've been balanced.
That's cool. That's cool.
For instance, the higher jump drives are probably cheaper now.
However, tell me,
engines might stay at the same price. I don't know. Yes.
Which new DLC do we have to buy in order to make this work? Because this is Paradox we're talking about.
Well, of course. So it's in the free patch.
Okay, so it's in the free patch. Okay.
You know how they work. Here's the thing: is Paradox can be rather shitty about what they put in the mod and what they put in the expansion, what they don't. But with Stellaris, they've shown amazing restraint.
Okay.
They really have. Because the kind of shit that you buy for example, Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings, you're buying a lot of arbitrary shit for Crusader Kings to make that work. You have to... Because here's the thing, in Stellaris, you buy the game and you can customize whatever you want. Where in Crusader Kings 2, you have to buy twice the price of the base game to do that.
Not only that, basically the problem with Crusader Kings and other games of Paradox is basically the fact that they are bunching up updates with DLCs. Yes. So if you want to update your game and, for example, fix a crippling bug or gain a balance in game, you have to buy every single DLC.
And this is quite different
and that's bullshit.
Than the standard MMO method, because the standard MMO method is monthly to buy monthly updates and free content packs with maybe some new paid content. However, here they're just bundling up all the paid content into a pack that you buy that's optional. Now, the first time they did this was Leviathans, and the thing about Leviathans is it's extremely optional. Even though
it's fun.
It's fun, and even though I argue that the enclaves make the game like so much more playable, you don't actually need them. You don't. Now, Utopia, I argue you do absolutely need. That's like so much quality of life. Plus, this is Paradox we're talking about, where they gate the free content too. Is in a few patches it'll get to where you absolutely need Utopia to access content.
That's bullshit.
Because a lot of the new content they produce is stuff that you need Utopia era stuff to make work.
I see. For me, that's bullshit. If I much more prefer the CD Projekt Red's style of DLCs. Basically, you create a shit ton of free content, and then you create like 2 or 3 DLCs that actually expand the game in different ways that are independent of each other.
Yeah.
That is the type of expansion that I can get behind, because it allows the customer the most flexibility, and it ensures that every customer is treated equally, no matter how much they shield out on the game.
So Corvettes are also now starting at 100 minerals, which makes sense because destroyers are like 200 or something, or it costs about 200 minerals to pump out a destroyer. So assuming that they also are, I mean, I'm kind of assuming that they're adding on 40 minerals in every hull class, but I'm not sure. The main thing we're getting at here is that things are going to be slightly more expensive, but on the flip side, there's a diminishing return on how much more expensive things will be. Because since components are going down, a lot of that price increase is just making up for the price you would have been paying anyway. So it's still going to cost about 100 minerals a Corvette. It's just that they're going to start at 100 minerals instead of starting at 60, and then you can go, I just won't upgrade my Corvettes because it's so obvious I should just keep making them because it's super cost efficient. And the people that made this game didn't actually think this out. It's like, I swear, here's the thing, Paradox, is you spend weeks, no, months, showing us the game in developer streams, but you're not playtesting it, you're just showing you playing it. And that's great for people that want to know if they want to buy the new pack, but it's not great for testing your damn game.
Yep.
And this is why I make fun of them so much, because they act surprised that so much sneaks into their game. So the other thing they're doing is they're fixing missiles.
Oh, in what way?
They retarget.
Do you mean that missiles are completely and utterly useless for the?
Oh yeah, they're the weakest weapon in Stellaris.
Despite having the longest range, they can be countered by the other two ways of fighting.
The issue with missiles is that as it is currently, it's easily the same problem occurs in basically every game that uses missiles. because for some reason these super advanced missiles don't know how to refactor new targets. So they can always hit their target, but they can't pick a new one.
I see.
Now, this is odd because the theory on how these works relies on the ship continually beaming in new coordinates. So how they currently work is you kill the Corvette and then all of the other missiles just blow up.
Yeah, they basically reach the target and then they self-destruct.
Correct. So what happens is while you're wasting a bunch of missiles, other weapons don't have this problem, or if they do...
Yeah, because they're basically hit scans.
Because they're either hit scan or the travel time of the projectile is so quick that even if they do overkill, the percentage is so small that it's just not worth mentioning. Because there probably is like a 2 to 3% overkill that's just going to happen against anything you're fighting. But the percentage for overkill reaches just up to 90% if you're fighting Corvettes.
Yeah. Because you're firing a salvo of missiles, they all hit the Corvette that is in the front of the enemy wave, and then suddenly the entire wave of your missiles goes poof.
Yep.
And you have to fire it again.
This is the other reason why naked Corvettes are the superior strategy, because you win against missiles. And later on, you can throw in some destroyers with point defense and even further laugh at them.
Or fighters.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, what I didn't know, and this is actually surprising the majority of the hardcore Stellaris community, is weapons were actually extremely efficient in Stellaris. Anti-shield weapons would hyper-focus on shielded targets to the point where they would play whack-a-mole with shields so much that they wouldn't damage the ships themselves.
Oh.
So, as a result, the enemy shields would deplete extremely quick. However, they'd grow so focused on depleting the shields that only the ships with dedicated kinetics would actually be effective. So now they're not so zealous.
I see.
Now they're actually purposefully not as efficient.
Makes sense.
And this might be the only time where I'd ask for dumber ships AI. Because that's literally what this is they're making it stupider.
Just so that the game can move more smoothly.
Just to make the game more graceful. And that's good game design, in my opinion. That's a problem you want to have.
At the end of the day, yeah. Because it's far easier to dial something down than to be forced to dial something up or balance something.
Yeah, like that's way easier than them having to say, "We're sorry, we have to completely change an aspect of our game because we didn't think about this." This is instead they're going, "Well, we just have to turn down a few numbers, and you'll like it when this comes out."
So yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so missile retargeting. Now, missiles are going to be terrifying early game.
Just as they should be.
Just as they should be, because they are nukes. The T1 missiles are nukes.
But the only reason why you're not as afraid of them is because they are your defenses are so powerful.
Yeah, spaceships have radiation shielding.
Well, they have to because they are in space, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, space has radiation in it. That's part of what kills you.
Yeah, a lot actually. That that's the reason why we on Earth need ozone.
Yeah,
Because it protects us from all sorts of bullshit.
That's why pollution is more than a green pinko commie issue. Because if the pollution gets to a certain point, we're fucked.
Yeah, pollution is basically another word for terraforming the planet.
Correct. We are terraforming the planet.
Yeah. The idea is, how do we want to terraform the planet?
Because people treat terraforming like this super high science thing, and it's really not. It's as simple as doing specific things on a major scale.
Yeah, a lot of people will actually tell you that, you're overreacting. Earth was here before humanity, and it will be long after us. So, and besides, we are such an insignificant part of the planet that we're not leaving an impact. Bullshit.
So, a lot of
because we are very industrious and imaginative people. We are attacking environment from every single angle that we can. That it is possible to attack it. We destroy the trees. Amazon forest is decreasing by in size by like 100,000 square kilometers a year.
You know how this works.
Yeah.
The entirety of the conservative argument relies on this myth that things never change because they don't want them to change.
I see. You see, the problem is I don't have
That's the whole idea of how conservatism works. Is the reason they think that climate change doesn't work is because nowhere in the history of time has anyone ever done it. And they think that just because no one's ever done it, no one can ever do it. Which is complete bullshit, because the internet happened, because space travel happened, because cars happened, because flight happened, because guns happened, because socialism happened, because capitalism happened. The list goes on.
Moon landing happened, but then it never happened again, which is sad.
Well, it happened again, but with more kielbasa sausage.
Of course. Next topic.
Oh, that's right. We're here for a purpose.
Yes, Steam removes House Party until it is watered down for re-release.
So we
what's the House Party?
So we talked about this a couple months ago, where Steam was gradually getting more okay with porn, because it's continued. More and more saucy games have been added on Steam. A lot of these doujins, where you're a strapping young lad or a strapping young dad in some cases.
Yeah, the recent one is the Daddy Simulator, right? What's it called?
You know who's behind that, right? The Game Grumps dudes.
Oh, yes.
They're literally...
The Dream Daddy.
They're literally... Aaron, Egoraptor, and the others are basically trolling Steam.
You know what? I'm actually quite okay with that, because
that's the most elegant trolling I've ever seen.
No, seriously, we need more like those sex games where you actually have males, because males are incredibly underrepresented.
Well, all the characters to some degree are bisexual. It's extremely progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. Unfortunately, we're not talking about Daddy Simulator as much as I'd like to, because we're talking about House Party, which is... Now, I didn't even research this game because I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Listen, you have to research this. If this is a topic for the show, you have to research it.
I don't want to know.
You have to. You have to look at the awkward 3D models sucking each other off.
I don't want to, Daddy. Please make it stop.
You need to. You need to see all those polygons rubbing against each other.
So, from what I've gathered, you're in a house full of drunk partygoers, and apparently there's one scene where you blackmail a girl, and there's a bunch of sex, and people get drunk, and it's all really morally ambiguous. It's basically a game designed to be sold to young children under the guise of being 18 up. You know, business as usual. So,
I guess.
the thing about this game is it managed to go past the very thin standards that Steam has put on. And in classic Steam tradition, they don't tell you what they want you to do. They just say, do something. We're taking your game down, do something. And they never tell you what. This is a theme that has gone through every story we've covered about games getting taken down, is they never tell you what's going on. They just vaguely
in some cases,
tell you why.
In some cases, it is quite easy to actually guess, like in case of Hatred.
Yeah, Hatred was obvious, and actually no, I think they told us why for Hatred, and then they regretted ever speaking about why they did it, and I think that's why they stopped doing it.
Because even though the all the sex gray area that it is in House Party, there are shit ton of games where you kill people.
Now,
and
the funny thing
no one
about
puts an eye on
Hatred
it.
is they went after Hatred when they just put at the same time Postal 2 on. And when you're taking down the game where the worst offense is calling cops human shields, and I'm not even counting shooting anyone in the environment, because what game doesn't let you do that at this point? Well, Postal 2 is the game where you literally have a button to take out your dick and pee on people until they throw up.
Yep.
So
yeah, I believe in Postal there's a mission where you have to piss on your father's grave.
Yeah, in Postal 2, you get in Postal 2, one of your errands is to go pee on your dad's grave, where you get knocked out by rednecks and put up in a gimp outfit.
Yep.
So it didn't take long for Steam to realize they're hypocrites on that issue. And the thing about House Party is it does kind of cross some ethical lines, but the thing is, I don't give a shit. Steam should have some published standard. If they're going to take down games that they deem are violating a standard, they need to declare a standard. More than just don't violate the standard. They have to say what the standard fucking is. Because
I know
this is embarrassing.
Yeah. I know that Steam is a private company and that they can do whatever the fuck they want. And I'm not going to claim that fact that they can...
that's a fallacy.
They can't...
That is entirely a fallacy. There's no actual rule where private businesses are allowed to do this kind of shit. They have to... They have a terms of service that they have to uphold. If they break their own terms of service, then we get to complain. That's why Hatred came back. That's why River City Ransom's back. Because they have rules too.
Yes, however, you have to realize that, again, They are a private company. They can remove anyone they want. However, there has to be a consistency.
Yes.
Because if there is no consistency, then no one wants to do business with you.
Absolutely. Must be consistent.
That's basically what I was trying to get at. And
Gorgeous.
when it comes to freedom of speech, right? If this was the freedom of speech issue, then Steam would have to allow games like ethnic cleansing, which personally I have nothing against because it sounds hilarious.
Well, here's the thing: is a lot of people think that a lot of people don't understand that the First Amendment doesn't actually cover hate speech. It is excluded. If you cross that line, you're not covered anymore, and you're allowed and you're encouraged to silence that person. And that's for a good reason, because these people going around spouting, Hitler did nothing wrong, the Holocaust didn't happen, that isn't covered by the First Amendment. You are actively using your speech to declare another ethnicity isn't people.
Well, I would
That might
say
sound like a stretch, but I'm saying that's the jumping point, and then they immediately move to the Jews.
Well, when it comes to like hate speech,
who allegedly control everything.
Yeah, when it comes to hate speech, there has to be this element of harming someone, right? If there is no element of harming someone, if it's just your opinion, for example, all the Jews are thieves or something like that, that's just an opinion.
Yeah, that's accepted. But
yeah.
When you cross the
however,
line
if you
and
call cops and say, basically if you SWAT people, then that's not. That's not free speech.
Well, no,
right?
that's different. When you're calling a police officer, whenever you handle with any echelon of government, be it state government or government, you can't lie ever. You can't lie. That is the rule. And when you call a police officer and give them a
you
fake
deal with
reason,
the government.
You are dealing with the government. And when you're dealing with the government, you can't lie. And when you're dealing with the government and having them dispatch, you are using government money. It is illegal
to kill someone.
It is illegal to misappropriate government money, no matter who you are, even if you're not in the fucking government, buddy.
Yeah. The same goes, for example, with yelling fire in a crowded theater.
Yeah.
Right?
At that point, you are not using free speech. You are using government speech.
You are actually well, I don't know if government speech, but you are actively putting people in danger of losing life by the way of your words.
Yeah, you are causing danger. And that's why I always laugh at all of those stupid rape videos that try to tell you. I was in addition to an abstinence-only education, I was taught in any case where someone's getting sexually hassled, I have to yell fire. Not rape. Not because the thinking behind this is if you yell fire, people will care.
Bullshit!
That's literally what they say, is if you yell rape, no one's going to care. But if you yell fire, someone's going to care. I was a 15-year-old high school student sitting in a real classroom watching a VHS teaching me this.
This is some grade A bullshit.
Yeah, and I just
if
have this
someone yells rape, of course people will react.
And so I have it burned in my memory of this chick going, fire, fire! And she blows on a whistle. Fire, fire, fire! I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Because a bunch of firefighters are going to show up, and the rapist is going to like go, oh, there's no fire here.
Be long gone.
There's no fire here. What are you doing? Like, there's no fire.
If you yell fire when you're being raped, the rapist is going to finish before the law enforcement is going to come around.
Right. It's just so brain dead stupid. And the reason I mention all of this is because that's basically the kind of thing that is ruining Steam. Is a bunch of people are screaming fire at these games when there's no fucking fire.
Yeah, there's not even rape going on there. Well, you cannot rape polygons. Let me say it this way.
There have been, because the classic argument at this point is, so we allow games where you're allowed to cut people's heads off and impale them and do all sorts of crazy shit, but you can't show the naughty bits going in and out.
Yeah, I've been playing Forest the other day, actually today, and this is a game where you can eat people, so cannibalism. This is the game where you can dismember them and put them, and basically craft the pieces of their bodies into totems that then you can set on fire in order to fulfill a certain mechanic of the game. Yeah. This is sick!
So about the cannibalism, anyone else notice that cannibalism is just calmly becoming prevalent in games? Like, there's usually a cannibalism option in a lot of RPGs now, and I don't see anyone going up in arms over that. But the second you mention sexual plots,
women bits, yeah,
the second you mention a romance arc in a major RPG, the Christ hearts come out of the woodwork going, "Oh, it's unethical to allow all the rape and bigotry in these games." I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, Americans are incredibly sensitive on the entire sex issue.
I don't understand it. I remember I had this ditzy special ed teacher who tried to legitimately teach me that not having sex was a sexual position. Because remember, that's what abstinence-only education relies on, is they tell you every option, and then they try to tell you that abstinence is the best. And because here is the question. The question is, which of all the sexual alternatives that you've been offered, it has the highest percentage rate? Now, the actual answer is I believe it was condom. It's either condom or it's the gels, but realistically, you actually want to mix two of them. You want the guy to wear a rubber and the woman to either use the pill or the anti
cup, or a spiral, or
the anti-sperm. Yeah, because if both parties use the thing anti-conception, then there's no risk. The risk is so small that it's not worth worrying about. It's the same risk that you get driving.
Yeah.
So that's the actual answer. Now the answer they want you to think is true is abstinence. I said, well, it's condom. Condom has the highest rate. And she smiles and goes, "No, it's abstinence." And I go, what?
As a technicality, she is correct, but in reality, when you are having sex, abstinence is already out of the window.
Well, what I told her is, not having sex isn't a sexual position.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's really that simple. Because when you're trying to, you can't call abstinence a contraceptive, because abstinence literally means not having sex. It's not it's not a sexual position. It's not a contraceptive.
I remember that when I was learning religion, and I know it's going to sound interesting for you because...
Well, I'm sorry to cockblock you here, but we should actually talk about gaming a little more.
Yeah, but just let me finish.
Okay.
When I was learning religion, right? Because I live in a majority Catholic country, which is I like 85% or something like that, and we learn religion in state school. They were teaching us about contraception, right?
Yeah.
And they were telling us that the best possible contraceptive, if you ever want to have sex, is the calendar.
Oh no!
Which is bullshit!
Oh no, he's one of those crazies.
Yes! This is what they were trying to teach us. Basically, either you not, if you're having sex, then either you don't have sex at all, or you're using a calendar.
Okay, so
because condoms are the work of the devil.
I'm going to explain and debunk this stupid thing. So what Christian is saying is the theory is if you have sex with a woman off of her cycle, then there's no risk. Now that's not true because because the cycle exists because it's the timing of the eggs getting to the womb. Now the thing about how sperm works is it doesn't stop at the womb; it goes up the tubes in order to get the egg on its way down.
And it can live there for up to 6 days,
and
up to a week.
Live there, up to a week. So, even though they're not on their cycle, you still have there's still a 7-day grace period for them to begin it.
Mm-hmm.
So, just it shouldn't be...
Christians come up with such a fucking bullshit thing.
So, I mean, this isn't speculation. This is just what we know about how the human body works.
Yep.
So, like, I thankfully went to an actual health class in high school, so I learned this. But, because that's exactly why I took health, because I was like, yeah, I'd like to actually know how this works. Because it's obvious that the elementary school teachers that are pretending to be real teachers in the special day class, I have to look up what the qualifications to be a special day teacher in this state is, because they're nowhere near high enough.
Mm-hmm.
They just aren't. They're idiots. They're just... Oh my fucking god. Speaking of questionable logic, let us go to the answers that not a single person wanted.
Yeah, we need to hurry up with this because of my rants, and it's my fault. I'm really sorry.
We're professionals!
No, we're having fun. That's important.
So, speaking of awesome topics, racism and alignment.
Oh, that's interesting.
Neltymind, who is tagged as an assassin, asks, how would you handle alignment, especially on the good/evil axis, for an elf that hates humans and basically would like to have them annihilated from the face of Toril because they are destroying nature and all big elvish realms, but is a really nice and helpful fellow around all other races? Oh, it's obvious that this character would think of themselves as good. Good people know their stance on humans, wouldn't agree. This guy is racist, potentially a murderer. So, what alignment would be appropriate? Evil is a bit tricky because the character doesn't act evil towards non-humans at all. So, maybe neutral. But actually, this does neither fit on behavior towards evil humans, or towards humans, which is evil, nor the behavior towards non-humans, which is good. How would you handle it? Now, here's a common misconception of alignment. Is ever since games like Fable or what have you came out with alignment sliders, people think that alignments work on a point system.
Mm-hmm.
So they think that if you balance it out, you become neutral, which is not how it works.
Yeah.
For instance, let's say George Bush Jr. George Bush Jr. Or actually no, Trump, because topical. So this is a person who does not believe in any kind of regulation or rule that does not that does not apply to him, or that applies to everyone, including him.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that rules should not include him, basically. So that would be chaotic. He does not believe in equality whatsoever. So
I would
believe,
actually call him chaotic neutral, I think.
Well, I'm gonna get to that part of the slider later.
Okay.
But the reason
he's definitely chaotic.
I would call him chaotic because he does not believe in equality. He does not believe in premeditated decisions. He does not believe in he doesn't believe in regulation. He doesn't believe in statistics. He doesn't believe in reading.
I would call him chaotic not because of his beliefs, but rather because of his actions. He is constantly saying one thing then another.
Well, I'm not
he's saying one thing then another. He's doing one thing then another. He's constantly all over the map. He's first saying that he's consulting some people, and it turns out that these are people who have no competence in the subject at hand.
Well, he's the epitome of chaos. He jumps into everything with a devil-may-care attitude when he's holding the highest office in the country.
Yes.
And a devil-may-care attitude is one of the foremost of chaotic characters. Is they don't care what's going on. They just want to do what they do.
Yeah, they are very selfish in that matter.
They're very selfish in that regard. So, now on to the... So, what I consider a good politician in terms of D&D alignment is I would consider a good politician someone that no matter what is improving the conditions when they pass legislation and not allowing harmful legislation to pass.
Yeah, but what's a good legislation and what's a bad legislation? That depends on basically your point of view.
Let me define that.
Yeah.
I define good legislation as thus that betters the living condition of the people affected by it. I'm talking about better medical, better infrastructure.
Yeah, but how do you know how the legislation is going to work out after before it's going to be introduced? Because in some cases it's not that easy.
You know, this is the White House, right? There's all sorts of data available. It's not like we have no idea how correlations work, Jahith.
Well, yeah, but this is United States of America is a very big and complicated system. You can't just predict everything with 100% accuracy. And there are cases in which you are completely sure, based on the data, that your legislation is going to have a certain effect, and it turns out it has a completely different effect. For example,
that doesn't stop Republicans every fucking time when they say that bill's going to kill jobs, that bill's going to create jobs, that bill's going to kill jobs, that bill's going to create jobs, that bill's going to kill Medicare,
that's called advertising.
Healthcare.
That's called advertising.
Oh, whatever. Oh, you fucking hypocrite. Next, and then there's the evil side of the spectrum, where you're calling military strikes just because you can, and you're not caring about what happens, and that's different from... Now, chaos is just, who cares entirely about the military strike, I just want a military strike. Where evil is, we know who's getting blown up in that strike, we just don't give a shit. Like, for instance, all of those kids.
Okay, so basically, the way I approach
and
this
you're
is...
gonna flip this and say Obama killed kids too, and
No,
that's
no, no,
different.
no, no. I don't care about Obama. The way I look at this is the way Planescape handled the idea of alignment. Basically, the way chaotic evil works is chaotic evil is bunch of chaos that wants to do nothing but harm to everyone and anyone, and that basically you basically at that point have someone who is, if you assign a chaotic evil alignment to a president, this is basically a president who is completely incapable of making decisions and does anything and everything to kill people, even if it means to do it with his own bare hands.
Not necessarily.
Chaotic evil is insanity. Basically, Joker is chaotic evil.
Well, he's an example of chaotic evil, but that doesn't mean all chaotic evil acts the same way.
That's true. It's called chaotic, of course, right? However, there is that constant need to do harm to anyone and everyone. And
you do realize we're talking about a person who just randomly, out of rage, starts tweeting and attacking as many people as his tiny little hands can manage.
Surprisingly enough, tweets cannot hurt people.
But they seem to have recently hurt 15,000 serving military, if my memory serves.
There is still no. Is there an official decree from the president?
No, but it's freaking everyone out.
Yeah, but still.
So I think someone was hurt by that, my friend.
Chaotic. I consider him chaotic neutral. He does weird stuff.
Ass. He grabs them by the pussy.
He sometimes
he
do
even
evil.
wait.
He sometimes do good.
It's.
I wouldn't call him evil. He's definitely unfit to be a president, but that doesn't mean he is evil.
He is evil.
That's your opinion, and you are entitled to that, and you have right to hold it. Because that's how freedom of speech works. So now, let's return to the racist elf.
Well, that's all kind of a basis on what we're talking about, because that really kind of explains a lot of what we're saying. Because the thing about racism is it's not necessarily chaotic, but it is kind of evil in the regard that you think that an entire race needs to die.
Well, he does provide a justification. That race is destroying the planet. So, wouldn't fighting against that race would be a good idea?
Hold on, my dog's barking.
Okay. So yeah. Basically, if so, dear viewer, so let's talk one-on-one for a moment. The way I think about this is basically if a person considers themselves racists and they have a good reason for it, then I basically think that racism is not part of good and evil, chaotic lawful acts at all. It's basically the way your character acts. If your character is racist and it kills, that character kills purposefully innocent people, yeah, then those actions are evil. If the character tries to is racist but does not commit evil acts on innocents or on innocent people, but only on those who commit crime that he considers the race to be committing, then I think it would be okay. But
okay,
that's
like
just my opinion.
Or what kind of okay?
Well, I was basically speaking that racism itself does not lie anywhere on good, evil,
Oh,
lawful,
bullshit.
chaotic action. Let me finish. If your character is racist and disregards a certain group of people, then that itself is not an evil or good or lawful or chaotic thing. However, if your character attacks innocent people, for example, a woman and a child, simply because they are of a particular race, then yes, this is evil. But if he attacks a woodcutter simply because he's cutting a tree, then that's not evil, because he is in the mind of the character and in the grand scheme of things, he is protecting nature. So,
personal perception isn't the entirety of alignment. Otherwise,
yeah, I know. That's the reason why I said in the grand scheme of things, right? Because if, for example, the elf sees an orc that is chopping down a tree and is basically passing it as, oh, okay, the orcs can cut off trees because in the grand scheme of things, they do not cause that much. Orcs themselves do not cause that much damage, right? But if a human does it, then that means
well, let me give you a non-violent example of a lawful evil character. Is Assassination Classroom. I binge watched that recently, and the principal of the school basically segregates the lowest grade of students, E, to basically a punishment classroom up on the hill, and they're basically the minority. Everyone is expected to treat them like shit. And the thinking behind this is by having the lowest grade, the lowest scoring students off as a untouchable class, the rest of the students will aspire not to be like them. And the thing about the principal is he has produced results, and he considers this to be logical. So I consider him to be lawful evil because there is a very well established reason to what he's doing. He's not doing this because he wants to.
Yeah, there is a reason for it. Yes, I do agree.
Because never at any point does he ever make it seem like there's any other reason than this is his reason. And you can see it just stratified throughout the show is all this, every aspect of society at that school is meant to
I guess you're right.
Do that.
I guess how racism would fall under lawful evilness.
Yes. And even though they're not directly violent against the student, they do everything up to it, up to giving them a very treacherous way down. There are these cute student videos with the mascot of the school, and he just talks shit about E-Class so hard. Calls them scum, calls them garbage.
I guess. I guess this makes sense.
It's intense. So that would be my best example of a lawful evil character without resorting to the violent serial killer thing.
Yeah, the best I can sum up my position on it is basically it's not your internal things that matter, it's your actions and how
you act on it.
Yes.
Because I think the confusion here is we kept saying racism and we weren't saying discrimination.
Yeah, because if
what we're actually talking about is discrimination.
If basically the character of the elf is running around human villages, slaughtering everyone, that would be chaotic evil.
Yeah,
right?
that would be chaotic evil. If he's running around and he has like this rule where he has to just beat up humans and just
or treat them like subrace,
or treat them with the subrace, and he's like, this is the rule of my religion. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Yeah, that's lawful evil.
That's discrimination. However, how about treating basically humans with hatred? That's different.
Well,
Because
it depends. Are
you
actively
hate humans
making their
because
life worse?
you hate humans because they are harming you, harming something, right? So is this neutral? Because you see them as basically creatures that do a lot of harm. So basically, it's okay for humans to kill orcs, right? Because orcs are
it would be more
inherently
neutral
evil.
to just kind of not want to deal with them and go, well, I kind of don't like humans. They kind of go towards what I'm going. Like I'm not like gonna hurt them.
Yeah, because in
D&D,
D&D
I don't like it.
in D&D it is widely accepted that killing orcs is okay, right? Killing goblins is okay.
Well, that's because of the flimsy argument that the book says they're evil, so that means they're not people. Like, whoa.
Yeah, that's the point. And the elf thinks that humans are evil, right? Because they do evil things, like cutting trees, which is evil.
Well, that's
right?
different. The entirety the entirety of the orc race was created by Grumsh to fuck up elves. Humans weren't.
Well, yeah, but then again, humans are doing.
That's literally their backstory in 5e, by the way. They were created by Grumsh to fuck up elves. It's hilarious. Grumsh was just so mad.
But you get my.
So
but you
mad
get my
at
idea,
Lothlorien
right?
that he was like, you took my eye. You know what? From now on, I'm going to create orcs, and their whole purpose of existing is to just kick down your people's sandcastles every time. Just, ooh, look at this sandcastle. Stop! Fuck your castle.
So, basically...
Grumsh needs therapy.
Yes. Well, so basically, this is basically what I'm getting at. From perspective of a human, right? It's totally different, right? Because plants do not feel anything. It's not evil. It's not evil at all. But from a point of view of an elf, that's an incredibly evil deed, right? So it's...
Anytime anyone ever talks about plants hearing, I always go back to the Mitch Hedberg joke. Is like, man, the underwater must be really loud. You just put your head in and you just hear, ah, fuck! Over and over again from all the sharks eating people, eating all the fish, and they're going, ah, I'm getting eaten, ah, fuck!
So you basically get what I'm getting at, right? That from different perspective, from different people's perspective, the alignment of other people's is different.
Yeah, he's an awesome comedian.
And he's ignoring me, of course.
Huh? I'm listening.
No, you're not.
Okay, I actually wasn't for like half a second. I apologize. I've been caught. Spank me, senpai.
So yeah, I guess that's it for today.
Oh, you think the question has been answered?
I
mean,
I think
it didn't sound like
as much
we did,
as we could.
but we really did. Like, because a lot of this just kind of goes through how we perceive alignment and how a lot of people will use the fake argument of it's just a construct for D&D. It doesn't actually apply to real life. And
yeah, but it has impact on the game mechanics. So,
well,
like
the thing
Detect
about
Evil.
alignment is it's a very loose classification system. A very loose classification system on behavior.
Yeah, originally alignment was supposed to be like religion. And you could speak alignment, like you could speak.
Yeah, there
speak
were
good.
alignment languages. Like, there was the language of assholes, and it was hilarious.
Yeah. We completely and utterly corrupted this idea and turned it into something completely different. And now it's this nebulous blob of thinkings.
What happened is people got way too focused on it. So just over the years, they slowly toned it back. And it's funny.
And now we focus too much on it.
They in fact, they tried to say that lawful evil didn't exist in 4E.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't remember what alignment was, but there was an edition where it was 4E. I'm pretty sure that just tried to say that one alignment didn't exist, and we're like, you're wrong. And I
know that there's a lot of contempt around the true neutral alignment as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of argument over that as well. Because true neutral exclusively was supposed to apply to like animals and stuff that cannot really think much higher than personal survival. And people took true neutral to mean gray Jedi or something like that, when that's not what it means at all.
Yeah, and of course we all know that the lawful goods are all assholes.
Yeah, and there's this assumption that lawful goods are all these psycho people that will attack anything that has an evil alignment. Like, there's a lot of like bullshit that people believe about alignments in D&D. My favorite is you can tell someone doesn't understand what they're talking about when they say, "I'm this alignment, so that means this." And then pay very close attention to what they say. Because they usually will say something completely, like, unrelated to what the alignment means. Like I've had people say that, well, they'll hear everyone on a side, so that makes them true neutral. No, it doesn't. Or,
objectivism is not neutrality.
Or my character thinks that the elves are like attacking trees and they're really evil, so my good character will kill them all. And I'm like, it's not true. One of my most upped posts is where I was debunking this guy who was like, so one of the characters in my game is like does this and that, and they think they're lawful good. Why are they wrong? And I'm like, oh, I'll tell you why they're wrong. Hold on, I need to fucking find this because it's so funny.
I remember that apropos true neutrality. I remember there was a game. It was called, I think, Seville or something like that. And in this game, they were actually making fun of true neutrality. And there was it was an adventure game. It was a puzzle that you had to solve in order to move on with the plot.
Oh, they deleted the original post.
Yeah, and the puzzle was that there were three factions. One that was very industrious, one that was very anti-industrious, and there were druids. And the problem is that the only way for the government to work was to get a majority, and there are only 3 representatives from each faction, and one faction always votes one way, the other faction always votes the other way, and the druids always vote neutral, neither one way nor the other, and therefore nothing gets done. So the entire puzzle of the game was to do something for the druids so that they will vote a certain way.
Yeah.
So the true neutrality is that basically nothing gets done, nothing ever happens. It's just peace and serenity and nothing.
So unfortunately, the post I was seeking was deleted along with the account. I guess they didn't like people.
Less cancer.
So I'm assuming that the person who he was talking about got really upset and like engaged with him, so that he deleted his post. But essentially what he was saying is he had this other character who was regularly kidnapping people in order to interrogate them. He was he's killing people without talking. He's been stealing, and he's supposed to be a lawful good paladin. And unfortunately, I don't have the whole post, but it was hilarious how because the player thinks, or because the player can come up with one sentence that can vaguely be argued for this alignment, they're this alignment, when that is most certainly not how it works. The sum of your actions explains your alignment.
Yep.
So that's why I always kick out people that lie to me and say, "Oh, my character's lawful good," but you just assassinated the last 3 people you ran into. But I believe in the Lord Paylor, and I believe these laws. That makes me lawful good. No, it doesn't.
Just because you can bullshit yourself around the argument doesn't mean that that you killed someone. It doesn't mean that
Gods
at the end
are
of the day,
real gods are real in D&D.
Yeah.
They can actually see through your bullshit here. See, the reason that works in real life is because there's no divine metal detector that picks it out. There's no invisible sky wizard watching you in the shower judging your karmic rating.
If there was, then every single advertiser company would be struck by lightning on a regular basis.
So,
and PR departments too.
which is weird, because you would think then that religious people would fucking love D&D because they get to make pretend that what they believe is real.
That doesn't work that way.
No? I mean, a lot of the monsters are from their mythology.
Yeah, and just because they exist, that means it's evil. Religious people, at least Christians, cannot engage in any sort of fantasy other than the fantasy of their book. They are such fans that if you like any other book, that means you are not a fan, and therefore you are evil.
I know, right? What other book club is so hardcore that they kill people from other book clubs?
There's Muslims.
I mean, that is one really, really dedicated book club.
Yeah, every Abrahamic religions are very dedicated to their book.
I mean, they're so dedicated to their book that they're never going to choose another one.
Yeah, they cannot.
It is forbidden.
Yeah, if they do, that means it's the devil. It's evil.
They're not like us, so they should be evil.
Yeah, they are not like you and me, and therefore that means that they are evil. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to memorize that line because it's so amazing that was in a Disney movie and no one noticed until they were older.
Yep.
But
it makes sense. Those lyrics make sense in context.
Well, unfortunately, that's kind of what the Pilgrims did.
Yeah.
They were
Pilgrims
fucked.
were assholes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
By our standards in today's day and age, yes, they were assholes.
They were most certainly a-holes. Like, they're like, oh, you savages, this may be like your homeland, but we say this is our homeland now, and because we're white, that means we're right.
Because we bought it for some beads and alcohol?
That's how capitalism works. So you should like shut up.
Yeah.
And I swear, I hope no one ever makes me president because that's suddenly I'd be making America great again and not in the way they want.
What, you're going to take a bulldozer and ride around the country until all the cities are in ruins?
No, I'd give a bunch of shit back to the Native Americans.
Ooh.
I would introduce so much legislation that empowers them, it would be ridiculous.
So what kind of legislation?
Just anything that empowers the environment, anything that empowers salmon fishing, anything that empowers casinos. Wow, that sounds racist. uh,
Would you allow, because right now Indian lands are in a basically legislative lock. Would you allow them to allow Indians to sell those lands again?
well, not sell it. I would give avenues for them to get land back.
Okay.
I would have studies done to determine parts of the country that could feasibly be turned into major cities, and major cities that can be green, reliable, the peak of infrastructure.
Oh, yes, of course.
And I'm talking like places where we can put lots of solar, places where we can put lots of wind,
Like Nevada.
or California, or really, or any of the flyover states. Oh, that pissed them off. And that would be great because that would be de facto Native American territory. Like, these cities are Native American. All of the tribes own it.
Every state, every land is Native American, to be fair.
Well, yeah, but I mean really, really Native American. Like
the buffalo?
Like it is technically tribal land, is what I'm saying. Is what I'm going to declare. I would declare these metropolises. And they're welcome to have whatever policy they want. They'll run it. They'll have a legitimate city. They'll have several legitimate cities. And that
I believe that
because
Kansas
the problem
is
they're
state.
all what?
Kansas is the flattest state in the United States.
Oh yeah, that'd be great for solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now the issue is that Native Americans are on a lot of reservations that just are not meant to do what they are trying to do. We put them there in order to let them die, unfortunately, is the truth. Where they need real infrastructure. They need real land. I mean, thankfully, they've had ways to make money off of our country to still exist, but they need like something substantial.
Yes. So does that still attaches to the talking about the alignment?
Well, I guess that's kind of a lawful good approach.
We're starting to rumble right now.
Well, that's the issue with alignment, is it starts to go into politics, and we love talking about politics. Yep, that's our show.
Yeah, see ya!